Concerns about the recent escalation in hostilities in northeast Syria, which further compounds the suffering endured by millions of civilians. Over 100,000 people are said to have entered to Syria from Lebanon due to the escalating violence. Mamadi Barrow has more details of that in this report.
The ongoing conflict in northeast Syria has already displaced thousands of families. While the situation is still volatile, some 125,000 people are reported having entered northeast Syria since the beginning of the current escalation of hostilities in Lebanon. The situation in northeast Syria is reportedly already dire. Overcrowded camps lack capacity for new arrivals, and inadequate shelters heighten health and safety risks. Recent increase in airstrikes severely damaged vital infrastructure, leaving over 1.5 million without power and clean water, worsening long-term conflict impacts. Speaking on behalf of the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, the UN Human Rights Office spokesperson, Jeremy Lawrence, expressed deep concerns about the recent escalation of hostilities in northeast Syria, saying that the situation is tragic as many have lived in misery since the outbreak of the conflict nearly 14 years ago.
UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Volker Turk is extremely concerned about the escalation in hostilities in northwest Syria since the 27th of November, which further compounds the suffering endured by millions of civilians. This is tragic, as many have lived in misery since the outbreak of conflict nearly 14 years ago. Our office has documented a number of extremely concerning incidents resulting in multiple civilian casualties, including a high number of women and children, stemming from attacks by both Hayat Tahrir al-Shams, or HTS, and by pro-government forces. We are in the process of verifying deadly attacks impacting civilians. For example, on the 29th of November, 4 civilian men were killed, reportedly as a result of multiple ground-based strikes by HTS, hitting an area hosting the Aleppo University student dormitories in the Hamdaniya neighbourhood in the western part of the city of Aleppo. According to information gathered by our office, all victims were students of the university, and following that, many other students fled the university complex.
The spokesperson further mentioned that 22 civilians were killed, including 3 women and 7 children, and at least 40 others were injured as a result of multiple airstrikes by pro-government forces in Idlib on December 1st.
On the 1st of December, 22 civilians were killed, including 3 women and 7 children, and at least 40 others were injured, reportedly as a result of multiple airstrikes by pro-government forces in Idlib. According to information received, multiple airstrikes hit a local market and 5 residential areas in the city. Most of the victims were in the streets near their homes and in the market at the time of the airstrikes. The air attacks also caused significant damage to civilian houses, shops, and the local market, the Al Hayat Mosque, and the Al Fatir Elementary School.
The hostilities in northeast Syria are resulting in destruction and damage to civilian objects, including health facilities, buildings hosting institutions dedicated to education, and food markets. Compounding these challenges are a suspect of cholera outbreak, surging fuel prices, lack of fuel availability, limited capacity to provide essential aid like healthcare, food, shelter, and education, and recent displacement of over 23,000 fleeing violence in Lebanon into northeast Syria. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Mamadi Barrow.